Hey there, fellow introverts and curious minds. Ever find yourself craving a little peace and quiet, a little time to just... like when you walk into a room full of people and your social battery immediately starts flashing red? Yeah, me too. Ever wondered what makes people who love solitude tick? What's going on in the intricate, fascinating worlds inside their heads? Today, we're diving into the 6 hidden personality traits of those who cherish their alone time. So grab your noise-cancelling headphones, settle into your favorite comfy chair, and let's get introspective. One of the most remarkable things about people who enjoy solitude is their capacity for deep thought. These aren't the folks who just skim the surface, they're diving into the depths. While others might be content with small talk, lone wolves are pondering the big questions. What is the meaning of life? What is the nature of consciousness? Is a hot dog a sandwich? Okay, maybe not that last one, but you get the idea. This isn't just philosophical navel-gazing either. This deep thinking often translates into a nuanced understanding of the world around them. They're the ones who can see all sides of an issue, who can empathize with different perspectives, who can find the extraordinary in the seemingly ordinary. They're constantly observing, analyzing, and making connections that others might miss. It's like their brains are always switched on, even when they're just sitting in a quiet room seemingly doing nothing, but that nothing is actually something quite profound. It's the fertile ground where their best ideas take root and blossom. Speaking of ideas blossoming, let's talk about creativity. You know how some of the best ideas come to you in the shower? Well, imagine that shower lasting a whole afternoon, or a weekend, or even longer. That's the kind of creative space that many lone wolves thrive in. Think about it, when you're constantly bombarded with external stimuli, notifications, chatter, the general hustle and bustle of life, it's hard for your own internal voice to break through. But in solitude, that voice can finally be heard. It's no coincidence that so many artists, writers, musicians, and innovators throughout history have been known for their love of solitude. It's in those quiet moments away from the demands of the world that they can tap into their most authentic selves and create something truly special. And it's not just about the big world-changing creations either, it's about the small acts of creativity too. The doodles in the margins of a notebook, the melody that gets stuck in your head, the sudden inspiration to try a new recipe. Those little sparks of creativity are just as important, and they often ignite when we give ourselves the gift of solitude. Now, you might be thinking, all this alone time sounds great, but don't lone wolves ever need help with anything? Of course they do. We're all human after all, but one of the defining characteristics of people who enjoy solitude is their strong sense of self-reliance. It's not that they want help, it's that they're perfectly comfortable figuring things out on their own. They're the ones who will spend hours researching a topic online before asking for help, who will happily tackle a DIY project solo, who are perfectly content going to the movies or grabbing dinner by themselves. And you know what? They often find a deep sense of satisfaction in accomplishing things independently. This self-reliance isn't about being a lone wolf in the sense of pushing people away. It's about having a strong sense of self-sufficiency, knowing that they have the inner resources to handle whatever life throws their way. It's about trusting their own judgment, their own instincts and their own abilities. And in a world that often encourages us to look outward for validation and support, that kind of inner strength is truly remarkable. Chapter 4, Empathy in Solitude. Okay, here's a bit of a plot twist for you. Lone wolves aren't heartless hermits hiding away from the world. In fact, they're often deeply empathetic individuals. It might seem counterintuitive. How can someone who enjoys being alone also be so tuned in to the emotions of others? Well, it turns out that spending time in self-reflection can actually make you attuned to the feelings of those around you. Think about it. When you're constantly surrounded by noise and activity, it's easy to get caught up in your own little bubble. But when you step away from all that, you create space to really listen, to observe, and to understand the perspectives of others. Lone wolves are often the quiet observers in a group, the ones who are taking everything in, noticing the subtle shifts in body language, the unspoken words, the emotions simmering beneath the surface. And because they've spent so much time exploring their own inner landscape, they're often better equipped to navigate the complex emotional terrain of others. Chapter 5, The Power of Observation. Remember what we talked about earlier about lone wolves being deep thinkers? Well, that tendency to really things extends beyond the realm of ideas and into the world around them. Lone wolves are often incredibly observant, picking up on details that others might miss entirely. It's not that they're actively trying to be hyper-aware. It's just that their minds are naturally drawn to the subtle nuances of life. They might notice the way the light filters through the leaves on a tree, or the way a stranger's face lights up when they talk about something they love. They're the ones who will point out the tiny ladybug perched on a flower petal, or the funny shape of a cloud in the sky. This keen sense of observation often makes them fascinating conversationalists. They're full of interesting tidbits and insights, and they have a way of making even the mundane seem extraordinary. They remind us to slow down, to pay attention, and to appreciate the beauty in the everyday. Chapter 6. Forging an Identity. Perhaps the most valuable trait of those who cherish their alone time is a strong sense of identity. In a world that constantly bombards us with messages about who we should be and what we should want, it can be challenging to hold on to our own unique sense of self. But for lone wolves, solitude isn't just a preference, it's a necessity. It's in those quiet moments of introspection that they can connect with their core values, their passions, and their aspirations. They don't need external validation to tell them who they are because they've done the inner work to figure that out for themselves. This isn't to say that lone wolves never have moments of self-doubt or uncertainty. We all do. But because they're so comfortable spending time with themselves, they're better equipped to navigate those challenging emotions and come out the other side with an even stronger sense of self. Embrace your inner lone wolf. So, there you have it. The 6 hidden personality traits of people who love to be alone. They're deep thinkers, highly creative, self-reliant, empathetic, observant, and possess a strong sense of identity. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more insightful content in your day-to-day life. Until next time, embrace your solitude and keep being awesome.